Please feel free to use the chat to introduce yourself along the way. And if you have any questions, pop them into the chat to me and we'll get them answered. This session is going to be a little bit different. So I'm here to get it launched for you. It's the creative intermission on drawing to engage the brain using bilateral drawing to get us all focused and engaged in what we're doing. Karen Chilman is the presenter in this. She pre-recorded her session for us because she had a schedule conflict, and you know what? That's the way that happens sometimes. But we still have the content, so that's great. Leave yourself muted. The video will be playing. I'll come back at the end of the video if you have any questions and you want to get connected in any way. We'll take care of that. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy the video that we're about to show. So here we go. Enjoy your intermission. And again, if you have any questions or any difficulties, talk to me in the chat. Talk to you on the other side.
Welcome to Creative Intermission, Drawing to Engage the Brain. I'm Karen Chilman, Executive Director of Perceptions, Yoga, Mindfulness, and Art in Vernon, Indiana. It's the southern part of the state, Jennings County, right across from the courthouse. We're a nonprofit that teaches at least 6 yoga classes a week and multiple art classes, and we have a gallery here that we change out art every month, featuring local artists as well as some regional artists. So what we're going to do today in our creative intermission is bilateral drawing. Bilateral drawing uses sensory motor, all of that yoga, mindfulness, and art. So we'll be moving both arms, both hands at the same time to regulate our sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system and to get our brain in the right place. So it might just take a minute and a post-it note with a couple of pens or pencils, or you might get out a whole tarp and some markers and work from there. So from this introduction, you'll be able to gather some materials and spend as much time as you would like with this creative process. You can feel the brain kind of calm down, the body calm down as you're working. You can do lines, circles, squiggles. All of those things are possible, and we're not trying to make some perfect art. It is really a sensory motor workshop in bilateral work. So I've used this with public school students. I'm a retired public school art teacher of 30 years, and it works. Kids come in a little bit wily, maybe after lunch, and just 2 minutes of some bilateral drawing, you can feel a calmness coming over the space. So before a meeting, or if you're a public school teacher or any type of teacher that needs to get some people to calm down, maybe this is the thing to do. Calm down in body, mind, and spirit. So some substrate you might use, post-it note, regular piece of paper, just some copy paper as big as a tarp, and markers or paint or pencils, whatever you have, just as long as you got a couple of them. They don't even have to be the same size. So check out Perceptions Yoga and spend a little time doing a creative intermission. Thank you.
All right, so what we have here are some materials for doing your own bilateral drawings. It can be pencils, pens, markers, fine point, just really anything that you have, as long as you have 2 of them. They don't have to be the same color. In fact, I kind of like to use both. So, and I've got some different materials here as far as substrate as well. So I'm looking at just a little notebook that I might carry around in the car if I have to wait for a little bit. That's a good time to do that. Or maybe I have a piece of construction paper or cardstock or even some drawing paper. So we all have different access to things. So whatever it is, if we're getting ready for a meeting, if we're in a meeting, this is something we can do. Maybe it's over the airwaves. So let's start with just something small and see what we can come up with. So both hands, got some chalk. And remember, this is a great way to regulate. This is also a great way to get both sides of your brain going. We're just working at the same time. And I know that this darker one is a little bit harder to see. Small paper as opposed to large paper, giving us a whole different feel as to what's going on. So we might just start with something little like that. If we went a little bit bigger, this is by 12. We could go horizontal. You could go vertical. Doesn't really matter. I've got 2 fine point markers here. We'll see what we can do with this. And you can do small spaces or larger spaces. You can really get flowing. And there's not really wrong here. It's just really feeling our way through. We might even play with some crossover. Trying to get the idea of this movement on both sides. Maybe some cardstock. Here, and this time I'll use some colored pencils, so whatever you have access to. And I find that my language is difficult as I'm doing this, just because it's taking a lot of body budget to look both sides and see what's going on. So they may not be exactly the same. In a classroom situation, working with middle school, high school students, especially my advanced placement high school kids. They love to do full body size works with a variety of materials. We would just throw some big pieces of cardboard down and they could work full body motion. We don't always have that access to big pieces of paper or cardboard. And sometimes we don't want to get on the floor, so we'll see what happens with that. Let's go with bigger marker, bigger paper. This is 12 by 18, and we'll see what we do here. So there in about 5 minutes, I had some different types of paper, different types of media to show you some bilateral drawing. Hope you enjoyed. I'm prepping here with another type of paper, just a little roll of white paper. It's thin, laying it out on this old wood floor. Just to find my wingspan, I'm getting something close. This is headed out for me, so grabbing a couple of markers and we'll find a little bit of center space using whole wingspan. So if you've got some more space, you can try this. This also gets us on the floor, gets us a little more grounded, and if we're really looking for some regulation, then this is a great way to do it in just a couple of minutes. Could be pencil, just if you have some long roll paper. You can keep it close in, just playing around with design and line. And this floor is not going to be super friendly because there's all kinds of little divots. I'm really not concerned about perfection of each side. It's more about the feel into this. We've gone from some really small papers to something bigger. You get full body movement and feel into how we're working space. It's about the feel. Come back in and down. So these might be fun. We did a few of them to see how they would be different, as well as maybe adding some color to them if we wanted to turn them into works of art. But this isn't really about creating something gallery worthy or for show. It's more about that internal process of regulation. So let's try it again. See what this one looks like. If I took some more time, maybe I would take this down to the floor so I wouldn't get all this motion. I might try another one here in a little bit on the wall. Get myself some wall space and even bigger paper, lighter to get into really more of the full body. So with that first one, I was lying on my belly and working just wingspan. This one is seated. And I'm gonna move that out of the way. And just concentrate on a little bit of a space here, maybe within these two spaces. Starting with my tips together. No really preconceived notion, just movement. It's interesting to feel the brain, feel the body moving in calming brain system or full body system.
Wow, right? I mean, totally. Wow. So I hope that you saw all the ways that you can use this, right? So it's great for kids that need focus. It's great for grown-ups that need focus. It's great for getting in touch with your body and letting go of the idea of needing to do things right. When I was in music school in college, my performance professor had us do that before rehearsals to get us completely focused on the music and away from everything else. And you saw in the chat someone noticing how much attention it requires, and it really it's an extraordinary sort of thing. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this intermission. We'll put the link available to you so you can watch it whenever you want and you can use it whenever you want. I'm sure Karen would be thrilled with that. And unless there's some additional questions, we'll wrap this up just a little bit ahead of time and give you a little bit of a break between now and your next breakout. All right. Have a wonderful rest of day, everybody. Take care.